Garrett nodded, his gaze resolute. All ships, reinforce your power core defenses. Deploy countermeasures to protect your engines. We need to hold out until we can find a way to turn the tide. As the battle raged on, Jason and his team continued their desperate search for a countermeasure. The human fleet was fighting valiantly, but the Andromedans' relentless assault was taking its toll. The vast emptiness of space was filled with the debris of destroyed ships and the wreckage of fallen warriors. Amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope emerged. One of Jason's team members, a talented analyst named Dr. Elena Vega, made a breakthrough. "I've identified a potential vulnerability in the Andromedan energy shields," she announced, her voice filled with excitement. "If we can deploy a concentrated energy pulse, we might be able to overload their shields and create a window for a more effective attack." Admiral Garrett's eyes lit up with hope. "Do it. Let's see if we can punch through their defenses and give our fleet a fighting chance." Jason and Elena worked together to coordinate the deployment of the energy pulse. The Hornet's weapon systems were recalibrated, and a concentrated beam of energy was directed towards the Andromedan flagship. The pulse struck the enemy shields with a dazzling display of light and energy, and for a brief moment, the Andromedan dreadnought's defenses faltered. The human fleet seized the opportunity, launching a renewed assault on the weakened flagship. Railguns, missiles, and laser beams pounded the Andromedan vessel, each strike contributing to a growing sense of optimism among the beleaguered defenders. The flagship's hull was scarred by the relentless barrage, and the Andromedans were forced to reassess their strategy. Despite the progress, the battle was far from over. The Andromedans regrouped, their ships adjusting their tactics in response to the new threat. The human fleet continued to face immense pressure, and the outcome of the conflict remained uncertain. In the midst of the chaos, Jason and his team remained focused on their goal. The fate of Earth depended on their ability to adapt and respond to the evolving threat. As the battle continued to unfold, the resolve of the human defenders was tested to its limits. The fight for Earth was far from over, but the human spirit burned brightly in the face of overwhelming odds. The Andromedans had underestimated the resilience and determination of their adversaries, and as the battle raged on, it became clear that humanity was prepared to fight for their world with every ounce of strength they possessed. The turning tide. The battle for Earth had reached a critical juncture. Despite the initial setbacks, the human defenders were finding their footing. The concentrated energy pulse had given them a crucial advantage, and the Andromedan flagship, though still formidable, was beginning to show signs of strain. On the Hornet, Jason Robinson and his team were working tirelessly to exploit this newfound vulnerability. The energy pulse had disrupted the Andromedan shields, but it was only a temporary solution. They needed to find a way to sustain the advantage and inflict more significant damage on the enemy. As the human fleet pressed the attack, Admiral Garrett issued a series of strategic commands. "All ships, focus on the Andromedan flagship. We need to capitalize on the damage we've inflicted and bring that vessel down. And don't forget to maintain defensive measures. Those Andromedan ships are still a significant threat." The EDS remaining ships, battered but unbowed, directed their firepower towards the weakened flagship. The Hornet's railguns and energy weapons continued their relentless assault, each shot landing with increasing accuracy. The flagship's hull was now heavily scarred, and its advanced weaponry was beginning to falter. Jason and Elena continued to monitor the situation closely. The data from their sensors showed that the Andromedan flagship's energy output was fluctuating, a sign that their shield systems were struggling to maintain stability. This was the opportunity they had been waiting for. "We need to increase the intensity of our energy pulses," Elena suggested. "If we can push their shields to the breaking point, we might be able to create a critical breach." Jason swallowed hard. The human fleet was vastly outmatched, even with the support from the colonies. The odds were grim, but there was no turning back. He turned his attention back to the alien ship's readings, desperately searching for any weakness or advantage they could use against the invaders. The fate of Earth and of all humanity, rested on their shoulders. Jason and the crew of the Hornet had to find a way to stop the Andromedans or risk losing everything. The battle was about to begin, and every second counted. As the EDF Hornet and its escort ships burned hard to intercept the approaching alien fleet, Jason and his team worked feverishly to decode the alien message. The words they managed to decipher were chilling. Surrender or face annihilation. We claim this world as ours. Admiral Garrett's face hardened as he listened to the translation. All ships, the Andromedans think they can come here and take our world. They think we'll just roll over. Well, I say we show them what humans are made of. We will never submit. We will fight to our last breath for Earth. A chorus of cheers and shouts of agreement echoed through the comm channels as the human fleet prepared to face the invaders. The Andromedan flagship, a behemoth stretching 10 kilometers long, surged ahead of its fleet, its hull bristling with weapon arrays glowing ominously. Evasive maneuvers. Admiral Garrett shouted as the dreadnought opened fire. Graviton torpedoes and searing plasma beams lanced out, ripping through space towards the human ships. The EDF vessels scrambled to avoid the onslaught, twisting and weaving in desperate attempts to evade the incoming fire. The battle had begun, and the outcome would determine the fate of Earth and its people. Jason and his team were at the heart of the conflict, their resolve tested as they fought to protect their world from the relentless Andromedan invaders. The battle unfolds. The opening salvo of the Andromedan fleet's attack was a spectacle of destruction. The massive dreadnoughts unleashed their formidable weaponry, their energy beams slicing through the void with deadly precision. Earth's defense forces, caught off guard by the sheer scale and intensity of the assault, scrambled to mount a counteroffensive. Jason Robinson, stationed on the bridge of the Hornet, was immersed in a whirlwind of activity. The ship's railguns fired in rapid succession, their projectiles streaking towards the incoming alien dreadnought. However, despite their best efforts, most of the shots dissipated harmlessly against the advanced shielding of the Andromedan flagship. A few managed to penetrate, leaving scorching marks on the dreadnought's hull, but it was clear that the human weapons were struggling to keep up. The EDF's other ships were in even worse shape. The Andromedan's plasma beams tore through their defenses with alarming ease, rendering the human kinetic barriers and shields ineffective. Destroyers and frigates fell one by one, their hulls rupturing and spewing debris into space. The once proud human fleet was being systematically dismantled before the eyes of its defenders. On the bridge, Admiral Garrett's jaw was clenched tight as he barked orders, his voice echoing with determination. Focus fire on the Andromedan flagship. We need to bring it down. Jason's console was a blur of data as he and his team pored over the readings, desperately seeking any sign of a weakness in the Andromedan technology. The alien weapons were unlike anything humanity had ever seen, designed to disable rather than destroy. The Andromedans seemed intent on crippling Earth's defenses rather than outright obliterating them. The Hornet shook violently as another barrage of alien weaponry hit its shields. Sparks flew from overloaded circuits, and the air was filled with the acrid smell of burning electronics. Jason's focus was intense as he analyzed the sensor data, trying to find a pattern in the Andromedan attack. His eyes widened as he noticed that the alien weapons were consistently targeting critical areas of the human ships, power cores, engines, and other vital systems. That's odd, Jason muttered. They're not trying to destroy our ships outright. They're targeting our power sources specifically. Disable us for what purpose? Admiral Garrett demanded, his voice filled with concern. Jason's mind raced as he considered the implications. The Andromedans were not just aiming to conquer. They were trying to neutralize Earth's ability to fight back. If they succeeded, the remaining human ships would be helpless, easy prey for the advancing fleet. We need to find a way to protect our critical systems, Jason said, his voice steady despite the pressure. If we can minimize the damage to our power cores and engines, we might stand a chance. Admiral Garrett nodded in agreement, Increase the energy pulse output. Let's see if we can finish what we started. The Hornet's weapon systems were recalibrated once more, and a series of powerful energy pulses were directed at the Andromedan flagship. The concentrated beams hammered the enemy's shields, pushing them to their limits. The flagship's defenses were on the brink of collapse. The human fleet pressed their attack with renewed vigor. Missiles, railgun rounds, and energy beams struck the flagship with relentless force. The once imposing vessel was now battered and vulnerable, its ability to defend itself dwindling with each passing moment. Despite the progress, the Andromedans were far from defeated. Their remaining ships continued to press the attack, their weapons causing significant damage to the human fleet. The battle was a brutal test of endurance, and both sides were pushing their capabilities to the limit. On the Hornet, Jason and his team worked to adapt their strategy in real time. The Andromedan fleet was adapting to their tactics, and the human defenders needed to stay one step ahead. Jason's eyes were fixed on the console as he analyzed the shifting patterns in the Andromedan attack. "There's a new pattern in their weapon deployment," Jason noted. "It looks like they're trying to create a more coordinated assault on our remaining ships. We need to adjust our defensive tactics to counter this." Elena quickly analyzed the data and suggested a countermeasure. "If we can create a series of decoy signals, we might be able to divert their fire and give our ships a better chance to regroup and recover." Admiral Garrett agreed. "Deploy the decoy signals and adjust the defensive formations. We need to keep our ships in fighting shape and continue pressing the attack on the flagship." The decoy signals were deployed, creating a series of false targets that diverted the Andromedan fire away from the human ships. This provided a much-needed respite for the beleaguered fleet, allowing them to repair and reinforce their defenses. As the battle continued, the Andromedan flagship was pushed to the brink. The concentrated energy pulses had taken a heavy toll on its shields, and the human fleet's relentless assault was beginning to have a decisive effect. The flagship's weapon systems were faltering, and its ability to coordinate the attack was diminishing. Jason and his team remained focused on their goal. The battle was still fierce, but the tide was beginning to turn in favor of the human defenders. The Andromedans, once confident of their victory, were now facing a determined resistance that was proving to be more formidable than they had anticipated. The struggle for Earth was far from over, but the human spirit continued to shine brightly. The defenders had fought back against overwhelming odds, and their determination was beginning to make a difference. As the battle raged on, the fate of Earth and its people remained uncertain, but one thing was clear: the fight for survival had awakened a fierce resolve in the hearts of humanity. A glimmer of hope. The battle for Earth was reaching a critical phase. The Andromedan flagship, though heavily damaged, was still a formidable force. The human fleet had managed to press the attack, but the struggle was far from over. The tide of battle had shifted in favor of the defenders, but the outcome was still uncertain. On board the Hornet, Jason Robinson and his team were working relentlessly to capitalize on the advantage they had gained. The energy pulses had weakened the Andromedan shields, but the flagship remained a significant threat. The human fleet's efforts were focused on exploiting this vulnerability and delivering a decisive blow. Admiral Garrett's voice echoed through the comm channels. "We need to push through and finish this. All ships, concentrate fire on the Andromedan flagship. We can't afford to let them regroup." The remaining human ships, though battered, were determined to see the battle through to the end. Their weapon systems were fully engaged, and their firepower was directed at the weakened flagship. The Andromedan vessel, once a symbol of invincibility, was now showing visible signs of distress. The imperative invasion. In the cold expanse of space, an imposing shadow loomed over the small, blue planet known as Earth. The Imperial fleet, a vast armada of alien warships, had emerged from the depths of hyperspace, their massive dreadnoughts and sleek fighters poised for an assault on the defenseless world below. This was not a mere reconnaissance mission. It was a calculated invasion designed to subjugate a primitive species. Humanity had never faced a threat of this magnitude. The fleet's massive warships, bristling with advanced weaponry and formidable armor, were unlike anything Earth's defenders had ever encountered. These were not just invaders. They were the Zorth, an alien race with centuries of military experience and technology far beyond Earth's reach. The Imperial fleet's mission was clear: conquer Earth and enslave its inhabitants. On board the Earth Defense Fleet's flagship, the carrier Hornet, chaos reigned. Jason Robinson, a 28-year-old engineering officer, was frantically working on the ship's defense systems. Alarms blared, and his console was alive with red lights and flashing warnings. The ship's railgun grid was under strain, and every second counted as the Zorth fleet advanced. Jason's hands flew over the controls as he tried to keep up with the barrage of data streaming in from the ship's sensors. Admiral Garrett, the fleet commander, was stationed on the bridge, his face set in a grim expression as he assessed the situation. The Hornet had been commissioned as Earth's first warp-capable carrier 3 years prior, incorporating the latest human technology and captured alien tech. Its purpose was to defend Earth against the growing threats in the galaxy. But now, faced with an enemy of unprecedented power, the Hornet's advanced systems were being put to the ultimate test. The alien dreadnought, a colossal vessel measuring over 3 kilometers in length, approached Earth at half the speed of light. Its surface was a patchwork of unfamiliar materials and exotic weaponry. As the ship neared the inner planets, Jason was ordered to analyze the threat. His scans revealed a ship equipped with technology that seemed centuries ahead of Earth's own. The entire solar system was on high alert, with every ship and station bracing for the impending battle. Earth's defense systems were stretched to their limits as the alien vessel entered weapons range. The tension was palpable. If Jason and the Earth Defense Fleet failed, the consequences would be catastrophic. The lives of 30 billion people, both on Earth and across its colonies, were at stake. Suddenly, the massive alien ship vanished from the sensors, leaving Jason and the crew in stunned silence. It had been approaching Mars, growing ever larger on the display, and then nothing. The bridge erupted into a frenzy of activity as crew members scrambled to reacquire the target. Admiral Garrett's voice cut through the chaos over the comm system. All ships, maintain high alert status. Deploy stealth drones to Sector 17 and find that ship. Jason's fingers flew over the console, adjusting the sensor array and analyzing the data stream. There had to be some trace of the alien vessel. His heart raced as he searched for any clue that might reveal the ship's location. His efforts paid off when he detected a slight gravitational disturbance near Phobos, one of Mars's moons. "Admiral, I've got something," Jason announced, his voice steady despite the chaos. "There's a gravitic anomaly near Phobos. I think they're using some sort of cloaking device." "Good work, Robinson," Admiral Garrett replied. "Keep monitoring it." Jason focused the sensors on the anomaly, his heart pounding. The weight of the situation pressed heavily on him. As he worked, the sensors suddenly lit up with a massive energy spike. Before he could react, a barrage of plasma bolts shot out from the anomaly, streaking towards the Martian defense platforms. The platforms were obliterated in a series of blinding explosions. The alien ship shimmered into view as its cloaking field disengaged. It accelerated towards Earth, its imposing form a harbinger of destruction. The comm channels crackled with harsh, alien voices, repeating a message that was unintelligible to the human crew. "Linguists, get to work on that message," Admiral Garrett ordered. "We need to know what they're saying." As the comms team scrambled to decode the alien transmission, a new alarm blared on Jason's console. His eyes widened as new contacts emerged from the Oort cloud. At least 100 ships, all on an intercept course for Earth. There's a moment of silence before Admiral Garrett spoke. "This is it then. A full-scale invasion. All ships form a defensive perimeter around Earth. Recall all vessels from the colonies. We'll make our stand here." Jason's console displayed a series of critical readings. The Andromedan flagship's hull was heavily scarred, and its energy output was unstable. The human fleet's sustained assault was taking a toll on the enemy vessel. Jason's focus was intense as he worked to identify the most effective means of delivering a final decisive strike. "We need to find a way to breach their hull and hit their critical systems," Jason said, his voice steady despite the pressure. "If we can target their primary reactor, we might be able to disable the flagship and turn the tide of the battle." Elena nodded in agreement. "We've identified several weak points in the flagship's hull. If we can concentrate our fire on these areas, we might be able to create a breach and deliver a crippling blow." Admiral Garrett gave the order. "Focus all firepower on the identified weak points. Let's make every shot count." The Hornet's weapon systems were recalibrated, and the remaining ships directed their fire towards the vulnerable sections of the Andromedan flagship. The concentrated assault was relentless, each shot striking with precision and force. As the human fleet pressed their attack, the Andromedan flagship's hull began to buckle under the pressure. The vessel's energy output fluctuated wildly, and its weapon systems faltered. The once formidable flagship was now a battered and vulnerable target. The human defenders, though exhausted, pressed on with unwavering determination. The battle had taken a toll on their fleet, but their resolve was unshaken. As the Andromedan flagship's defenses continued to deteriorate, a glimmer of hope emerged. In a final, desperate effort, the Hornet's railguns fired a concentrated volley at the flagship's primary reactor. The shots struck with devastating force, penetrating the flagship's hull and reaching the reactor. A brilliant flash of light erupted from the enemy vessel as the reactor was breached, and the flagship's systems began to fail. The Andromedan flagship shuddered violently, its remaining ships pulling back in a desperate attempt to escape the damage. The once formidable vessel was now a dying colossus, its power fading and its weapons falling silent. As the flagship's energy output dwindled, the human fleet continued their assault, targeting the remaining Andromedan ships. The enemy fleet, now disorganized and demoralized, struggled to mount a coherent defense. The tide of battle had turned decisively in favor of the human defenders. Jason and his team watched with a mixture of relief and exhaustion as the Andromedan flagship drifted, its systems failing and its hull scorched by the relentless assault. The once great vessel, a symbol of the alien invaders' might, was now a testament to human resilience and determination. The human fleet's victory was not without cost. Many ships had been lost, and the defenders had endured immense hardships. But the battle had been fought with courage and resolve, and Earth had been defended against an overwhelming threat. As the remnants of the Andromedan fleet retreated into the void, the human defenders took a moment to regroup and assess the damage. The battle had been hard fought, but the victory was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. The fight for Earth had revealed the strength and resilience of its defenders. In the face of overwhelming odds, the human fleet had stood firm and repelled the invaders. The victory was hard-won, and the battle had forged a new sense of unity and determination among the defenders. As the debris of the Andromedan fleet floated in the void, the defenders of Earth took pride in their hard-earned triumph. The battle was a testament to the strength and resilience of humanity, and the fight for survival had forged a new sense of purpose and determination. The Andromedan threat had been vanquished, but the struggle had left its mark. The defenders of Earth had proven their mettle, and the victory was a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. As the remnants of the battle faded into history, the defenders looked forward to rebuilding and preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. The fight for Earth had been a test of courage and resilience, and the defenders had emerged victorious. The battle had shown the strength of the human spirit, and the victory was a testament to the enduring resolve of humanity in the face of overwhelming odds. The aftermath. The battle had ended, but the cost was significant. The void of space was littered with the wreckage of both human and Andromedan ships, a somber reminder of the ferocity of the conflict. The human fleet, though victorious, had suffered heavy losses. Many of its ships had been severely damaged or destroyed, and the defenders were left to pick up the pieces. On board the Hornet, Jason Robinson and his team were busy assessing the damage and coordinating repair efforts. The ship had been heavily battered, and the crew worked tirelessly to restore its systems and ensure its continued operability. The battle had taken a toll on the Hornet, but its crew remained determined to see the repairs through. Admiral Garrett, though exhausted, addressed the remaining fleet. "I want to commend each and every one of you for your bravery and resilience. We faced an overwhelming enemy, and we fought with everything we had. Earth stands today because of your courage and determination. We will rebuild, and we will continue to defend our world." The words of the Admiral were met with a mixture of relief and pride. The human fleet had endured a grueling battle, but they had emerged victorious. The Andromedan threat had been vanquished, and Earth had been saved from subjugation. As the repair crews worked to restore the damaged ships, Jason and his team continued their efforts to analyze the aftermath of the battle. The data from the conflict provided valuable insights into the capabilities and tactics of the Andromedans. This information would be crucial in preparing for any future threats. Elena Vega, one of Jason's closest colleagues, was deep in thought as she reviewed the sensor data. "We've learned a lot from this battle," she said. "The Andromedans were a formidable opponent, but their tactics and technology have given us valuable information. We need to analyze it thoroughly and use it to strengthen our defenses." Jason nodded in agreement. "We need to be prepared for any future threats. This battle has shown us that we can stand up to even the most advanced adversaries, but we need to stay vigilant and continue to improve." As the fleet began the process of rebuilding and recovery, the defenders took stock of their achievements and losses. The victory was hard-won, and the scars of battle were evident across the fleet. The human spirit, however, remained undaunted. The fight for Earth had revealed the strength and resolve of its defenders, and the experience had forged a new sense of unity and purpose. The aftermath of the battle was a time of reflection and renewal. The defenders of Earth had faced an unprecedented threat and had emerged victorious. The lessons learned from the conflict would shape future strategies and preparations. The fight for survival had tested humanity's mettle, and the victory was a testament to the strength of the human spirit. In the quiet moments following the battle, as the debris of the conflict drifted away, the defenders took solace in their triumph. The victory was a testament to their courage and determination, and it served as a beacon of hope for the future. The battle had been a defining moment in human history, and the defenders had proven their ability to overcome even the most daunting challenges. As Earth began the process of rebuilding and recovering, the defenders looked forward with a renewed sense of purpose. The fight for survival had forged a new sense of unity and determination, and the victory was a testament to the enduring resolve of humanity in the face of overwhelming odds. The battle for Earth had been a testament to the strength and resilience of its defenders. The victory was hard-earned, but it was a shining example of the indomitable spirit of humanity. As the remnants of the battle faded into history, the defenders looked forward to the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead, ready to face whatever came next with the same courage and resolve that had seen them through the darkest days of the conflict. Rebuilding and reconciliation. In the wake of the battle, Earth and its defenders were faced with the daunting task of rebuilding. The scars of the conflict were visible on the landscape, both on the planet and in the void of space. The Andromedan invasion had left its mark, but humanity's resilience and determination shone through as they set about the process of recovery. Admiral Garrett and his command staff worked tirelessly to oversee the rebuilding efforts. The focus was on restoring the damaged fleet, repairing the infrastructure, and addressing the needs of the survivors. The battle had taken a toll on the human resources, and the rebuilding process was a monumental undertaking. On the Hornet, Jason Robinson and his team were deeply involved in the recovery efforts. The ship had sustained significant damage, and the crew worked around the clock to restore its systems and ensure its readiness for future operations. Despite the challenges, the team remained focused and determined. Elena Vega, working alongside Jason, was also involved in analyzing the data collected from the battle. The insights gained from the conflict provided valuable information for improving future defenses and strategies. The focus was on understanding the Andromedan technology and adapting it to enhance human capabilities. "The data we've collected is invaluable," Elena remarked as she reviewed the sensor readings. "We need to use this information to strengthen our defenses and ensure that we're better prepared for any future threats." Jason nodded in agreement. "We've learned a lot from this battle. It's important that we use these lessons to improve our readiness and ensure that we're prepared for whatever comes next." As the rebuilding efforts progressed, Earth began to heal from the wounds inflicted by the conflict. The cities that had been damaged were repaired, and the infrastructure was restored. The process of recovery was slow, but the determination and resilience of humanity were evident in every effort. The rebuilding also included efforts to address the psychological impact of the battle. Many survivors had been deeply affected by the conflict, and support systems were put in place to help them cope with the trauma and loss. The focus was on providing care and support to those in need, ensuring that the human spirit remained strong in the face of adversity. In addition to the physical and psychological recovery, there was also a focus on reconciliation and unity. The battle had brought people together in a shared effort to defend their world, and the experience had fostered a renewed sense of solidarity. The focus was on building bridges between communities and nations, and working towards a common goal of peace and security. As the process of rebuilding continued, the human fleet prepared for the future. The lessons learned from the Andromedan invasion were used to enhance capabilities and strategies, ensuring that Earth would be better prepared for any future threats. The focus was on strengthening defenses, improving technology, and ensuring that humanity remained vigilant and resilient. The experience of the battle had forged a new sense of purpose and unity among the defenders of Earth. The victory had shown the strength and resolve of humanity, and the process of recovery and rebuilding was a testament to that enduring spirit. As Earth looked towards the future, the defenders remained committed to ensuring that their world was secure and prepared for whatever lay ahead. The dawn of a new era. As Earth emerged from the shadow of the Andromedan invasion, a new era began. The battle had been a defining moment in human history, and the experience had forged a new sense of unity and purpose. The process of rebuilding and recovery had been a testament to the resilience and strength of humanity, and the future was filled with promise and hope. Admiral Garrett, now a symbol of leadership and resilience, addressed a gathering of survivors and leaders. "The battle for Earth was a test of our strength and resolve. We faced an overwhelming threat, and we emerged victorious. This victory is a testament to the courage and determination of each and every one of you. As we look towards the future, let us remember the lessons we've learned and continue to build a world that is secure and united." The words of the Admiral were met with applause and a sense of collective pride. The battle had been hard fought, and the victory had come at a great cost. But the experience had brought humanity together in a shared effort to defend their world, and the sense of unity was palpable. On the Hornet, Jason Robinson and his team were preparing for their next mission. The ship had been repaired and was once again operational, ready to defend Earth against any future threats. The experience of the battle had forged a new sense of camaraderie and purpose among the crew, and they were eager to continue their service. Elena Vega, reflecting on the journey, remarked, "We've come a long way since the battle began. The experience has shown us the strength and resilience of humanity, and we're better prepared for the future. It's an honor to be part of this journey and to contribute to the ongoing efforts to protect our world." The focus now was on building a future that honored the sacrifices made during the conflict. The victory had been hard-won, and the process of rebuilding was a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. The lessons learned from the battle would guide future efforts and ensure that Earth remained secure and prepared. As Earth entered this new era, there was a renewed sense of hope and possibility. The future was filled with promise, and humanity was ready to embrace it with determination and resolve. The battle for Earth had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit could prevail. The dawn of a new era was a time of reflection, renewal, and optimism. The defenders of Earth had faced an unprecedented challenge and had emerged victorious. The experience had forged a new sense of unity and purpose, and the future was a canvas on which to build a brighter and more secure world. As the sun rose on a new day, Earth looked towards the future with hope and determination. The battle for survival had been a defining moment in human history, and the victory was a testament to the strength and resilience of humanity. The dawn of a new era was a time to celebrate achievements, honor sacrifices, and embrace the promise of a brighter future. Echoes of victory. As the dust settled and the debris of the Andromedan fleet drifted silently through the void, the significance of what had been accomplished began to sink in. Earth had withstood an assault by one of the most advanced and fearsome civilizations in the galaxy. The human spirit, tested in the crucible of battle, had not only endured but had triumphed. In the days that followed, celebrations erupted across the globe. People gathered in the streets of cities that had narrowly avoided destruction, raising flags and lighting candles to honor the fallen. It was a time of jubilation and remembrance, of relief and grief intertwined. Admiral Garrett, however, was not ready to rest on laurels. He knew that the battle, though won, was just one chapter in a longer story. The Andromedans had been driven back, but the galaxy was vast and the future uncertain. In the newly reconstructed command center aboard the Hornet, Garrett stood with Jason, Elena, and the other key leaders of the defense effort. A holographic map of the known galaxy flickered before them, dotted with points of interest, potential threats, and unexplored sectors. "We've proven that we can stand against the Andromedans," Garrett began, his voice steady. "But this war has only shown us how much more there is to learn and how much more we have to do to secure our future." Jason nodded, his expression thoughtful. "We've made incredible strides, Admiral. The alliance we've built here, between nations, between people, has to be our foundation moving forward. The Andromedans won't be the last threat we face, but if we stand together, we can be ready." Elena, tapping through data on her console, added, "We need to take what we've learned from the Andromedan technology and start integrating it into our own systems. There's so much potential here, not just for defense, but for exploration, for understanding the galaxy in ways we never could before." The Admiral looked around the room, seeing the resolve in each face. "We're not just defending Earth anymore. We're preparing for what comes next. We need to be proactive, explore, build alliances, expand our reach. The best way to protect ourselves is to ensure that we're not isolated, that we're part of the broader galaxy." And so, as Earth began to rebuild, plans were laid for a new era of exploration and expansion. The warships that had defended the planet were retrofitted with the latest technology, their crews trained in the tactics and strategies they had learned through bitter experience. New ships were commissioned, designed not just for defense, but for long-range exploration, equipped to venture into the unknown corners of the galaxy. Jason and Elena were tasked with leading one of the first exploratory missions. Their destination, a star system that had been a source of enigmatic signals, now suspected to be a potential ally, or perhaps another threat. As they prepared to leave, they were acutely aware of the weight of their mission. It was no longer just about survival. It was about securing a place for humanity among the stars. On the day of their departure, a crowd gathered at the spaceport, watching as the newly commissioned exploration ship, the Voyager, lifted off. Jason and Elena stood on the bridge, looking out at the planet they had fought so hard to protect. "It's a new beginning," Elena said softly, her eyes reflecting the glow of the Earth below. Jason smiled, a mix of excitement and determination in his expression. "The first of many. Let's make sure it's a good one." As the Voyager slipped the bounds of Earth's gravity, heading toward the unknown, the people of Earth looked to the stars with a new sense of purpose. The battle for Earth had been a defining moment, but it was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of humanity's next great adventure, a journey into the vast, uncharted reaches of the galaxy, where new challenges, allies, and discoveries awaited. The echoes of victory would carry with them a message to any who might threaten Earth again. Humanity was no longer confined to its homeworld. They were ready to face the galaxy, together, as one. The frontier beckons. The Voyager cruised through the dark expanse of space, its sleek hull reflecting the distant light of countless stars. The ship, a marvel of human engineering enhanced with the Andromedan technology, was a symbol of humanity's new frontier spirit, a vessel designed not just for exploration, but as a statement that Earth was ready to take its place among the stars. Jason Robinson stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the holographic map that displayed their current position. The journey had taken them far beyond the boundaries of human exploration, into a region of space that had been largely uncharted until now. The enigmatic signals they had detected from this area had piqued the interest of Earth's leaders, prompting this mission to uncover their source. Elena Vega, standing beside Jason, analyzed the data streaming in from the ship's sensors. "We're entering the system now," she reported, her voice tinged with anticipation. "The signals are coming from the third planet. It's habitable, but there's something unusual about the readings." Jason nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "Bring us into orbit and prepare the landing teams. We need to approach this carefully. We don't know what we're dealing with yet." As the Voyager maneuvered into orbit around the mysterious planet, the crew prepared for the descent. The surface was a swirl of greens and blues, indicating a world rich in life, but the readings suggested something more, an artificial source of energy that had triggered the original signals. The landing craft touched down on a lush, forested plain, the air thick with the scent of unfamiliar vegetation. Jason and Elena led the team, their steps careful as they moved through the dense foliage, scanning the area for any signs of life or technology. The trees towered above them, their leaves a vibrant shade of green that shimmered in the sunlight. "It's beautiful," Elena murmured, her voice barely above a whisper as they pushed deeper into the forest. "Let's hope it stays that way," Jason replied, his hand resting on the sidearm holstered at his hip. The beauty of the place did little to ease the tension he felt. The unknown was always dangerous. After several kilometers, the team reached a clearing where the source of the signal became apparent. In the center of the clearing stood a massive structure, ancient and overgrown with vines, yet clearly artificial. The structure pulsed with a faint, rhythmic glow, the energy readings spiking as they approached. "This doesn't look like anything we've seen before," Elena said, her eyes wide as she scanned the structure. "It's not Andromedan, that's for sure, but it's definitely advanced." Jason circled the structure, running his hand over the smooth surface. "This technology is old, really old, but it's still functioning. We need to figure out what it's for and why it's been sending out those signals." As the team set up equipment to analyze the structure, they began to uncover signs of its purpose. The structure, it seemed, was a kind of beacon, one that had been dormant for eons, only recently reactivated. The question was why. Hours passed as the team worked, the forest around them growing quiet with the approach of night. Just as they began to make progress, a low hum resonated through the air, emanating from the structure itself. The glow intensified, and a wave of energy pulsed outward, knocking the team off their feet. Jason scrambled to his knees, his heart pounding. "Everyone okay?" he called out, scanning the area. His team responded in the affirmative, though they looked shaken. Elena, her eyes wide with concern, checked the readings on her device. The structure just activated something, a signal, much stronger than before. It's broadcasting across multiple frequencies, and whatever it is, it's not just local. Jason's blood ran cold as he realized the implications. "You're saying it's sending a message across the galaxy?" Elena nodded, her voice trembling slightly. "Yes, and it's not just a beacon anymore. It's a call, something or someone is going to answer it." As they processed this revelation, the ground beneath them trembled, and the structure's glow intensified. The team scrambled back as the structure began to shift, parts of it retracting and others expanding. Before their eyes, the ancient device transformed, revealing what appeared to be a massive gateway or portal, its surface shimmering with energy. Jason stared in awe. It's a doorway, but to where? The team stood in stunned silence as the portal stabilized, the air around it crackling with energy. Whatever lay beyond was beyond their comprehension, but one thing was clear: this was no ordinary discovery. This was a gateway to another world, another dimension, or perhaps even another part of the galaxy. "We need to report this back to Earth immediately," Jason said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. "This changes everything." As they prepared to transmit their findings, a new signal emerged from the portal, this time unmistakably intelligent, a message coded and complex, but unmistakably a form of communication. Elena quickly decoded the initial sequence, her eyes widening in disbelief as she read the translation. "It's a message," she said, her voice hushed. "It says, 'Welcome, travelers. Your journey begins here.'" Jason exchanged a glance with Elena, the weight of the moment settling over them. This was more than just a mission of exploration. This was the beginning of something far greater, an invitation to venture into the unknown, to explore realms beyond their imagination. As they stood before the open portal, the possibilities seemed endless. The galaxy had just opened its doors to humanity, and the adventure that lay ahead would redefine everything they thought they knew. "Let's prepare to go through," Jason said finally, the decision made. "We didn't come all this way to turn back now." With the portal humming softly before them, the team steeled themselves to the journey ahead. The frontier beckoned, and with it, the promise of new discoveries, new challenges, and a future filled with endless possibilities. As they took their first steps toward the portal, they knew that whatever lay on the other side, humanity was ready to face it, together, as one, into the unknown. Stepping through the portal was like plunging into a pool of icy water, an instant of disorientation, where time and space seemed to blur together before emerging into something entirely new. Jason Robinson felt a jolt as his feet touched solid ground on the other side, his senses gradually adjusting to the unfamiliar surroundings. The first thing that struck him was the sky. It was a deep shade of violet, with streaks of pink and orange, unlike any sky he had seen before. The air was crisp and filled with the scent of unfamiliar flora. As he looked around, he realized they were standing on a plateau overlooking a vast, alien landscape. Elena Vega stepped through the portal behind him, followed by the rest of the team. They took in their surroundings with a mix of awe and caution. The world around them was breathtakingly beautiful yet entirely alien, a place of towering spires of rock, sprawling forests with bioluminescent trees, and rivers that glowed with an ethereal light. "Where are we?" Elena asked, her voice tinged with wonder. Jason checked his scanner, but the readings were unlike anything he had seen before. "We're definitely not in our galaxy anymore. The readings suggest we're in a completely different star system, maybe even a different dimension." The team fanned out, carefully exploring the area around the portal. The ground beneath their feet was soft, covered in a thick layer of moss that seemed to respond to their movements, glowing softly with each step. In the distance, strange creatures moved through the trees, some resembling animals from Earth, while others were unlike anything they had ever encountered. "This place, it feels alive," one of the team members remarked, watching as a flock of glowing birds soared overhead. Jason nodded, his mind racing with the implications of what they had discovered. This was more than just a new world. It was an entirely new reality, a place that defied the conventional laws of physics and biology as they understood them. As they moved deeper into the alien landscape, they came across signs of civilization. Structures made of stone and metal, partially overgrown with vegetation. The architecture was ancient and unfamiliar, suggesting a culture that had once thrived here but was now long gone. "These ruins," Elena said, examining the carvings on a crumbling wall, They're similar to the designs on the portal back on the other side. Whoever built that portal must have lived here once. Jason felt a shiver run down his spine. But where are they now? And why did they build the portal? The questions hung in the air as the team continued their exploration, their senses on high alert. The world around them was both mesmerizing and unsettling, a place of beauty and mystery, but also potential danger. As they ventured further, they came across a large structure at the edge of a cliff, overlooking a vast canyon. The building was more intact than the others they had seen, with intricate carvings adorning its exterior. The carvings depicted scenes of people, or perhaps beings, stepping through portals like the one they had just used, their arms raised in what seemed like a gesture of welcome. This must be some kind of temple, Jason guessed, his voice hushed with reverence. The team cautiously entered the structure, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. Inside, they found a large chamber with a pedestal in the center, atop which rested a glowing orb. The orb pulsed with energy, casting shifting patterns of light across the walls. Elena approached the orb, her scanner picking up readings that defied explanation. This device, it's connected to the portal. It might be the key to understanding how it works. As she reached out to touch the orb, the air around them shimmered, and a holographic image appeared above the pedestal. The image depicted a figure, tall and regal, with features that were both human and alien. "Welcome, travelers," the figure spoke in a language that was instantly translated by their devices. "You have crossed the threshold into the realm of the ancients. We are the builders of the gateways, the guardians of the paths between worlds. Our civilization has long since passed, but our legacy endures. Through these portals, you'll find knowledge, power, and the means to shape your destiny." The figure's voice was calm, yet filled with a sense of gravity. "But beware, for the paths you walk are not without peril. The gateways connect many worlds, some of which are peaceful, while others are fraught with danger. Choose your steps wisely, and remember, the journey you undertake will test your resolve, your courage, and your unity." The image faded, leaving the team in silence. Jason felt the weight of the words settle over him. This was more than just an exploration mission. It was a test, a challenge set by a civilization far beyond their understanding. "You have to be careful," he said, breaking the silence. "This place is full of unknowns, and the stakes are high. But if we can unlock the secrets of these gateways, it could change everything for humanity." Elena nodded, her expression serious. "We need to gather as much information as we can before we return to Earth. If the other side of this portal is any indication, there could be countless worlds out there, each with its own challenges and opportunities." As they prepared to leave the temple, Jason took one last look at the glowing orb. The journey ahead was daunting, filled with uncertainty, but it was also an incredible opportunity. Humanity had been invited into the realm of the ancients, and with it, the chance to explore new worlds, to learn, to grow. The team made their way back to the portal, their minds buzzing with the possibilities that lay ahead. They had taken the first steps into a much larger universe, and the journey was only beginning. The frontier beckoned, and with it, the promise of a future that was as bright and boundless as the stars themselves. As they stepped back through the portal, returning to the familiar surroundings of the world they had left behind, Jason felt a renewed sense of purpose. The unknown was vast, and it was calling to them. Humanity was ready to answer that call, to venture into the unknown, and to shape its own destiny among the stars. The adventure of a lifetime had begun. A new era. Back on the Voyager, the crew processed the enormity of their discovery. Jason Robinson, standing before the ship's command center, felt a mix of exhilaration and responsibility. The portal had opened the door to countless new worlds, an opportunity to explore, learn, and expand human knowledge beyond anything they had ever imagined. "All systems are stable," Elena Vega reported, her hands flying over the controls. "The portal is still active, and we're receiving continuous data streams from the other side." Jason nodded, turning to the rest of the crew. "We've just taken the first step into a much larger universe. But we need to approach this carefully. Our priority now is to ensure that humanity is ready for what lies ahead. The crew began compiling their findings into a report that would be sent back to Earth, a comprehensive account of the alien world, the portal, and the ancient civilization that had built it. As they worked, Jason and Elena discussed their next move. "We need to establish a base on the other side of the portal," Elena suggested. "A forward outpost where we can conduct research and exploration without risking the ship or crew." "I agree," Jason replied. "We'll need to send a message back to Earth, requesting reinforcements and additional resources. This isn't something we can handle alone." The message was prepared and transmitted, outlining the situation and requesting immediate support. Within hours, Earth's response arrived, an acknowledgement of the discovery and the promise of a fleet being prepared to join them. As they awaited the arrival of the reinforcements, the crew of the Voyager continued to explore the alien world. The initial landing site became the focal point of their operations, with teams dispatched to map the area, study the local flora and fauna, and investigate the ruins in more detail. The more they explored, the more they realized just how advanced the ancient civilization had been. The ruins contained technology that, even in its dormant state, was far beyond anything humanity had ever encountered. Devices that could manipulate gravity, control weather patterns, and even alter the flow of time itself were found among the remnants of this once great culture. "It's incredible," Elena marveled as they examined a piece of machinery that appeared to be some kind of time dilation device. These people were masters of science and technology. If we can learn from them, it could revolutionize our understanding of the universe. Jason agreed, but he also felt a growing sense of caution. "We have to be careful, though. We're dealing with forces we barely understand. One wrong move, and we could unleash something dangerous." As the days passed, the Voyager's crew became more familiar with the alien world. They established a perimeter around the portal and began constructing the first structures of their forward base. The outpost was designed to be both a research facility and a defensive position, equipped with the latest technology and weaponry to protect against any potential threats. Finally, the reinforcements from Earth arrived, several ships carrying additional personnel, supplies, and equipment. The arrival of the fleet marked the beginning of a new phase in humanity's expansion into the stars. Among the new arrivals was Admiral Rebecca Hayes, a seasoned veteran of space exploration and a leader known for her strategic acumen. She met with Jason and Elena as soon as she arrived, eager to be briefed on the situation. "You've done incredible work here," Admiral Hayes said, after being brought up to speed. "This is a game changer, not just for Earth, but for the entire human race." "We've only scratched the surface," Jason replied. "There's so much more to discover, but we need to proceed with caution. The technology here is powerful, and we don't fully understand it yet." Admiral Hayes nodded, her expression serious. "Agreed. Our first priority is to secure the area and ensure that the portal remains stable. We'll establish a research division to study the technology and develop protocols for its use." With the Admiral's arrival, the operation took on a new level of organization and focus. The forward base grew rapidly, transforming from a small outpost into a bustling hub of activity. Scientists, engineers, and military personnel worked side by side, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and capability. As the weeks turned into months, the research teams made several breakthroughs. They developed a better understanding of how the portals functioned, discovering that they were part of a vast network connecting multiple worlds across the galaxy and potentially beyond. Each portal led to a different world, some of which were habitable, others hostile, and some utterly incomprehensible. The implications were staggering. Humanity now had access to a virtually limitless frontier, a new era of exploration and expansion that promised to reshape the future. But with that opportunity came new challenges and responsibilities. As the leader of the original expedition, Jason Robinson found himself at the center of this new era. His decisions would shape the course of human history, determining how they would navigate the complexities of the galaxy and interact with the other civilizations they might encounter. One evening, as Jason stood on the observation deck of the forward base, looking out at the alien landscape, Elena joined him. They had both been working tirelessly, but the magnitude of what they were involved in had begun to weigh heavily on them. "We're standing on the edge of something incredible," Elena said softly. "But it's also terrifying. There's so much we don't know, so many risks." Jason nodded, his eyes fixed on the distant horizon. "That's always been the case with exploration, but we can't let fear stop us. We have to keep moving forward, keep learning, and make sure we're prepared for whatever comes our way." Elena smiled, a hint of wariness in her eyes. "And we'll do it together, like we always have." As the two stood in silence, watching the alien sun set over the strange, beautiful world they had discovered, they knew that the journey ahead would be long and difficult, but it was also full of promise, an adventure that would take them to the farthest reaches of the galaxy and beyond. The portal had opened the door to a new era for humanity, and as they stepped through it, they were determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with the knowledge, courage, and unity that had brought them this far. The future was theirs to shape, and the stars awaited.